the British establishment trying to ban opposition. So they're not going to ban opposition parties, but instead opposition candidates is how it's going to work.
Individual candidates.
Yes, and the way they're going to do that is Section 127. I'm not joking.
Oh, Conservatives, get rid of this.
It really just doesn't die, does it? It goes into everything else. So here we go. Here's the article from Spikes and this chap. So I got forwarded an email from, I'm signed up to the Free Speech Union, so they sent me an email, and there's a whole list of stuff they do every Friday of just like a million things that are wrong with the country and the world.
Sign up to the Free Speech Union, they're good boys.
Yeah, and this is one of them, and this chap here who's writing it works with them. He's an advisor for them, and he found something that would have gone under the radar otherwise. So as you can see, the Elections Bill Protecting Politicians from Democracy, being the title, and he says, a critical commentary on the UK Elections Bill tended to focus on the proposal for mandatory voter ID, because this country looked at America and went, not doing that. Anyway, so moving forward, he says in here, another proposal slipped into the bill under the innocent-looking heading disqualification of offenders for holding elective office, etc., is even more troubling, at least if you believe in free speech and in the public's right to challenge politicians. Clauses 26 and 27 of the bill say that if a person was motivated by hostility towards an elected politician, candidate, or campaigner, even committing one of the long list of offences, then the court could disqualify that individual from holding elected office for 5 years. So if you offend a politician, and, well, that's a crime in the UK, if you do it online, especially, you can be banned from running for office for 5 years.
I get a lot of people still ask me, oh, are you going to stand for office again? It's like, well, I have offended a lot of politicians.
So you might not be able to. Anyway, so elected office here includes membership of the Commons and devolved assemblies, councilorships, right down to the parish council level, membership of London Assembly, and mayoralties. Parish councils, for foreigners who don't know, so few people want to stand for election, usually there aren't.
Yeah.
Like, people just get given the job.
Win by default.
Yeah, because it's not a thing with a huge amount of power. It's about like dealing with the bus stops or the greenery or things like that. Anyway, so you're going to get kicked from all of them if you dare commit a crime which can be offending someone. I'm not joking.
Literally offending a politician. I mean, that's my daily bread and butter to give a keto unfriendly.
So the list of offences that could lead to disqualification includes not just serious crimes such as common assault, it also includes public order, malicious communications, and hate speech offences.
So Dank's out.
Yeah, Dank is literally out if this passes. It even includes the crime under the Communications Act 2003 of saying anything, quote, grossly offensive on the internet. Literally. They're going to ban Count Dankula from running for office. And also, if you get a conviction for saying something grossly offensive on the internet, you too.
Well, I'm a very good boy on the internet these days.
But you also think the motivations in all of this. Well, no, there's suddenly
literally because I don't want to go to jail.
But there's now a wonderful motivation for every politician to be very offended. Whatever people say to them on the internet. Just think about this for a minute, he writes. An over-enthusiastic hustings heckler or an excessively outspoken rival candidate can face becoming legally unelectable to any office for 5 years. The same would apply to anyone who, like a campaigner imprisoned a couple of years ago, followed an MP or councillor around to make a point he or she didn't want to hear. And, of course, it could apply to anyone who tweets unpleasant things about a rival politician. So if you dare say something about a politician you don't like, and they're a politician, they can literally turn around and be like, hey, police, I'm making a complaint. And if you end up getting charged with it, because the law is so loose that Nazi pugs are a crime.
Well, the legal standard is, did you perceive it to be something bad?
There was a lady whose name escapes me in Manchester. Her friend died in a car accident, so she put on Instagram a song he liked by an American rapper.
That was Liverpool, I think.
Sorry, Liverpool. Yeah. And the American rapper said American rapper words, the game award, and because she had put the song up, she was charged.
Yeah. Because a 15-year-old friend of hers had been killed in a car accident or something.
Yeah.
And she had to wear like an ankle tag or something else.
So if you've ever even just put up a song that's not you saying it, too bad. Like, you can't stand for office for 5 years. Yeah. So think about the extra power this would give to politicians, he writes. The police and pressure groups. They could silence anyone that they decided were troublesome, or at least threatened to. Take the example of a councillor who engages in a no-holds-barred discussion on social media about her council leader conduct. At present, in England, she can sit tight and say, if you don't like it, ask the voters.
Which is the correct position.
the English position. It's just like, we have these disagreements, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That's
The
where it
voters
ends.
will decide.
Under the elections bill, it would be very different. The council leaders could threaten to report her for an offence under the Communications Act unless she pipes down.
I hate this continental managerial politics. Vanguard politics, this is.
Guess who did it? Tory. Every goddamn time. Chloe Smith, the minister in charge of the bill, trumpets the plan as much needed measure to stop the intimidation of people in public life. You're a moron, Chloe. You're an absolute brainlet.
Careful, you're not going to be allowed to run for office for the next 5 years if you keep on like this.
Bill's not yet passed.
Yeah, I know.
So let's get out of the system while we can. You stupid brainlet, for Christ's sakes. Like, if you pass this sort of thing or even promote this sort of thing, there's no hope for you.
And just to be clear, if you can't take your political opponents disagreeing with you on social media and maybe even insulting you, you don't deserve to be in politics. You should not be in politics. It's too rough a game for you. You're not needed there. You're not welcome there. You should leave.
I must admit, I also am not hugely keen on the endless whining from politicians.
No.
And you get it globally. This isn't just a British thing.
Oh, I'm being attacked on social media. Then put the phone down and go do something useful for your constituents.
It's part of life. If they're harassing you, that's one thing. Saying mean things on the internet, nah. No, it's just not. So he says in here, the last bit, these bits of the election bill come across as a means to intimidate people. Yes. A way to say that those on the edges of public life, that they had better show proper respect to their betters, or else.
Not very inclusive.
Perhaps this is what the bill is, an attempt to protect the governing class from democracy.
Yes.
Fantastic find. Want to give full respect to the Free Speech Union and this chap in particular for finding this, because I had no idea.
No.
This is in there. I mean, I imagine very few people, except from Chloe and whoever the hell else wrote this, is aware that that's in there. But if we go to the next one, this is a link just to the bill reference. It's sort of the full notes, if you want to go through it in your own time, is what he gives as the link. I couldn't go through it and read it because it's in lawyer speak, so just something for people to look at. But that's not the only way to...
It's 158 pages long as well.
Yeah, it's not the only way to attack people in elected office, is it? So I thought I'd pair this with another story, which is amazing. Okay. So let's go to the next one. School children hold mock trial of an MP, Richard Drax, over ancestral slavery links.
Why is this being allowed?
I don't know. It's just...
Why are they acting like children should have moral authority over adults, let alone elected MPs?
Because someone who wasn't him owned slaves.
So sit down, child, before you get detention.
Yeah, so let's go through this. School children hold mock trial of MP Richard Drax of ancestral slavery links. School children took part in an 8-hour mock trial of,
8 hours?
Of millionaire Tory MP accused of benefiting from the proceeds of slavery.
Where's the communist teacher, Labour voting teacher, who did this?
An actual struggle session is what they were suggesting. Yes. 40 pupils aged 12 to 18 were involved. Literal children, because that's how this is always done. Taking on the roles of the prosecution and defence lawyers, while others were split into 3 juries.
Here we go, look. Clive Stafford Smith, a leading human rights lawyer, organised the mock trial and acted as a judge. Right, so lefty, insufferable, Labour voting human rights lawyer. I don't even need to look him up. I know that's what he is. You wouldn't do this otherwise. This is unbelievable. Trying to, literally have the sort of Chinese Cultural Revolution style weaponizing the students against the adults as if they have any moral authority. And remember, never take a moral lecture from a child. It's a child. Tell them to be quiet.
This guy thought this was an appropriate thing to try and set up.
Unbelievable.
So all the 3 jurors found Drax guilty as charged.
Oh, what a shock.
Although they dismissed a second charge that he had, quote, had acted like his ancestors while performing his role as an MP. Yeah, he hadn't been a slave owner in 2020.
Amazing.
Big shock, yeah. So he gives a quote in here, that leftist, in which he says, it was the first Generation on Trial event in 3D Centre. Stafford Smith's charity is staging
for school pupils. Why did he agree to go along with this?
That's the thing. Thankfully, the MP himself was like, get stuffed. I just didn't do it. I was go to hell. So they put it on without him and hired a posh guy to represent him.
Okay.
And then put this all on to like get a jab at this MP.
But this was it a teacher who did it, or was it just an outside... Whoever was in the school who permitted this to happen should be fired. Yes. Right? This is not acceptable.
So the centre that set this up says that young people have been, quote, handed a poisoned planet by the previous generations, and that the trials are, quote, to hold the perpetrators accountable, even only if symbolically.
I hate these lefty human rights lawyers.
It's just the worst people.
What does Robert Conquest have to say about them?
I can't remember off the top of my head, actually.
Oh, he doesn't like them.
No, I imagine. But I love how they think this is appropriate, and if they get power...
Do you want to know what Scruton thinks of them?
They will do this for real.
Scum.
Accurate. So the organisation said it was holding mock trials of these powerful figures, which just an MP. Calm down.
Mock trials. Who the hell invested you with any authority whatsoever?
To learn about
hate these people.
where they went
Goddamn.
wrong. To learn about where they went wrong.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Bro, he didn't own the slaves.
Yeah.
Like, he just met a slave. You haven't met a slave. No one's met a
Sins
slave.
of the great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, Jesus. And where they had opportunities to avoid the catastrophes they created. He was born. That really, like, his crime is being born here. That's what's wrong. Drax had previously faced demands to pay reparations because he controls the 250-acre Drax Hall plantation in Barbados, where his ancestors created one of the first slave work sugar plantations in the British Empire.
Yeah, but it's not a slave-worked sugar plantation now, is it?
Hasn't been for 200 years, so he got that. But also, reparations to who is the endless question when you ever deal with this situation.
Blacks?
Not a certain black. We'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, right, okay.
So the MP refused to take part in the mock trial, but has said in the past, quote, "No one can be held responsible today for what happened many hundreds of years ago."
I mean, obvious and demonstrable truth.
Yeah. An actor was drafted to play the role of a posh defendant in Bridgeport Town Hall.
This is
They
disgusting.
just got a posh guy. Other right-wing figures who face prosecution for perceived crimes are likely to be Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, and Priti Patel.
Priti Patel?
Or a slave she owned.
Well,
I don't even know.
the Indian woman needs to be held accountable for her ancestors' crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yee.
So some education campaigners have criticised the events, saying that they will lack impartiality and risk brainwashing
Oh,
students.
really? Oh,
No.
really?
No S, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're designed to do.
I thought we'd go into Richard Drax for a minute, because I think the narrative around him and his ancestors' slaves is quite funny.
Right.
So let's go to the next one, which is the BBC reporting on this, back when they found out he was on the database of ancestors who had slaves. And they're saying here, the Tory
Why is
MP,
there such
Richard
a
Drax, is descendant from John Swarbrick L. Drax, who was awarded £4,293, worth £3 million today, for 189 slaves.
Yes.
He's not awarded them. Like, the British state, British
Purchase their
government,
freedom.
the British people paid for the slaves' freedom. He didn't, like, win the lottery. That's not what happened there. Like, he owned people that were property in law, and we kept the rule of, the principle of
Protection of property. Like, this is actually, like, they can complain all they want.
contracts. That's what
Exactly. What the British actually managed to do with this is navigate this particularly thorny issue without compounding one injustice with another.
and no bloodshed.
Exactly. No bloodshed, no injustice. What's going to happen? Well, we're going to buy those people's freedom, and then they're free. You didn't have anything arbitrarily taken from you by the state, and so no one has any position to complain about, and the British Empire sails on cleanly through these very troubled waters.
Yeah, but
It was a very clever idea, frankly.
it's the best one, but they're not happy about that. You'd think maybe they'd be happy with a load of people dying over it, but they don't care about the American Civil War either, do they?
No, of course
Like, no, that's all about racism.
600,000 dead Americans doesn't matter either.
Mate, literally, they're killing each other over freeing the slaves, and you think this is all about the South, do you? Right. Anyway, I love Drax's response to this, though.
Come on.
So let's go to the next one. This is
disgusting.
election 2010. Drax hits back at the slave smear. And he gives a quote in here. It's not what I stand for. I should think not. I should think you don't stand for bringing back the slave trade. He's like, yeah, I'm not for slavery. Simple as. Vote for me.
I mean, any one of these activists or children or revolutionaries, like if any of their ancestors had, I don't know, murdered someone, raped someone or something like that, you're right. Well, you're descendant from a rapist. What now? Oh God, I don't know. Slavery wasn't the only crime in history.
But I love how Drax can sit back and be like, well, you've asked the Tory candidate. I don't stand for it. Labour.
I'm forced to agree with my colleague across the hall.
I think it was a really funny comeback, and fair enough to him. He's not enough of this. He also served in the British Army for 9 years. Just want to mention. So I mean,
Typical slave owner.
yeah, that's what they do. Anyway, but the reason I mentioned that a certain black wouldn't be getting his reparations out of this is because, of course, the question of who do you give reparations to? How do you track down who is only a descendant of slaves and not a descendant of slave owners?
Is it going to be millionaires?
No, because you think everyone's like, I'll just give it to brown skinned people or black people.
That's what I mean.
How do you define that? Big think for a minute. What if there are black people who are also descendant of slave owners?
What if there are white people like me who are descendants of slaves?
Yeah.
Hey, where are my reparations?
So let's go to the YouTube link here just to make the last point, which is Ainsley Harriott. Ainsley Harriott, appalled by his own family, were slave owners. This is a clip. This is a clip from Who Do You Think You Are?
Oh, that's rough.
Ainsley Harriott.
This is very much like those the black people in America who find they do a DNA test like 80% European. It's like what?
Yeah. I have absolutely nothing against Ainsley Harriott. He's
No,
a
of
very,
course not. He's a
very
lovely
funny
guy.
character, beat your meat, all the rest of that. But I love this because it's, looking at his skin tone, for example, just to make this point you wouldn't usually, is that he's blacker than most black Americans.
Yes.
Black Americans, I don't buy it.
Every black American.
Yeah, that's ended there. But I love that even he's a descendant of slave owners. So if you did do reparations in this country, Drax would owe your family money, and so would Ainsley.
Pay up, Ainsley.
So,
I'm waiting. I mean, it's not like you haven't done very well from your position, is it?
yeah, but I thought we got.
That's amazing.
I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, the whole idea of like historical reparations, as you can see, it completely fraught with many contradictory problems.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just drop it and move on.
But otherwise, British establishment going to ban people from running for office if they dare offend politicians, and also reparations for Carl from Ainsley, which is a hell of a thing.
Solidarity.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content we have.
The way the site works is that you have bronze, silver, and gold tier subscriptions. The bronze being £5 a month and allows you to get access to all of the premium content and leave comments on the articles. And we've got a new feature for the silver tier, and the silver and gold tier, which is having all of the premium articles accompanied by an audio track of a very smooth British voice reading, as you can see on the screen there. It's only an 11-minute listen, or it's however long it takes you to read the article. So that's for convenience. So that's for gold and silver members. And we've also got all of our regular great content, which we're all really proud of. I mean, the premium podcast that we have here is Progressing to Destruction, where that's just a lot of work, where it went into examining exactly what the consequences of mass immigration have been in Britain. And this was a great deal of effort to put together, and we didn't really want it being taken down from YouTube or anywhere else, so we're hosting it on our site, and we're very pleased with, well, what is, I suppose, a bit of a negative response, but not because of anything we've done, but because of the facts of the matter, it seems. But we also do various other premium podcasts, like The Contemplations, such as Are There Human Rights? Well, it depends on whose definition of what a human right you are using is. And of course, we do our regular history podcast called Epochs. This week's was The Sea People, the Terror of the Bronze Age. I really enjoyed doing this one because there was a great collapse about 3,000 years ago of the entire economy of the Eastern Mediterranean, and it seems that a bunch of piratical raiders may have been partially responsible for that, and possibly inspired the Trojan cycle from Homer. So we discussed that in that. And of course, we do our book club. For some reason, I decided that we'd highlight the George Orwell ones that we've been doing. So we've got his Road to Wigan Pier, and of course, the classic 1984. And I'll probably do Shooting an Elephant next. Have you ever read that?
Not heard of it.
It's really interesting. It's about George Orwell's time as a colonial administrator and police officer in Burma. And at one point in his narrative, an elephant goes on the rampage in a village and is killing people and destroying houses. So he has to go down and shoot it. And it is an absolutely fascinating look at the sort of colonial dynamics. The reason I haven't done a book club this month so far is because I'm currently going through the Critical Race Theory Bible. As you can see, it's 500 pages long, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And there are going to be many very in-depth book clubs coming out of that, because the things they believe are crazy and conservatives need to know about them.
Last thing to mention, of course, is if you'd like to see us live, you can come to our live events. So the one we have coming up, I think Saturday is sold out, but Friday still has tickets if you'd like to come. So we're going to have Andrew Lawrence down as the secret guest for that one, to be the comedian.
Not so secret now.
Not so secret now. And Count Dankula, Carl, and I'll be giving a secret speech about a topic I don't want to ruin now. Yeah. But that's that. But anyway, if you'd like access to all that premium content, please go over to lotuseaters.com, subscribe. Thank you.